In this video, we are going to take a look at using a custom font. So your computer comes with, its default fonts, a specific kind of array of fonts that you can use. Sometimes you want to use a font that's different, that's fancier, that's custom, something you have designed your website. You must use this font in order for everything to look good, and you really want to use a certain type of font, but it's probably not going to be available on, different users' browsers. So you need to use a custom font. So you need to provide this font for the browser. So this is where we use the CSS at font face rule. So you have to add a font. Okay, so web fonts allow you to use fonts that are not installed on the user's computer. We don't all have the same fonts. We do have, a set of like the standard same fonts, but above that, we don't have anything, special and fancy. So when you have bought or found the font that you wish to use, you can include it in you can include the font file on your web server. So you can put on your web server, and then it will be available to the user when needed. And this is the CSS style that you would use at font face. And then this is the font family that you're going to use in my example. But before we start writing this, let's take a few steps back. I want you to please go to your course documents and download this font here, okay? So click on it and download that, all right? It's called Segoi.ttf, TrueType font. So when you're done that in your downloads, I would like you to put that in your folder. Okay, and if you're wondering which folder, so in Saffron you have CSS, images, and your JavaScript folder, right? So now you need to create another folder, all right? New folder, and you need to call that font. Okay, and inside of it, you should put the font that you just downloaded, the Segoi font. Okay, and now we are good, okay? Go. Okay, sorry, I had just realized that I named something wrong. So in your Saffron font, it should actually be fonts with an S, okay? So to be consistent, let's name it fonts with an S. So what you need to do now is also go into the CyberDuck, okay, and you also need to have a fonts folder there as well, okay, because right now I created the font folder on my desktop on my computer. You also need to have one on the server, so let's go do that. Okay, go. So here in Saffron, okay, you need to have a new folder. So I'm kind of behind. I'm going to create images. So you have your images folder, your CSS folder. You should already have all these, right? And your JavaScript folder. Okay, you should already have all these. Now you also need a fourth folder, okay? So you already have the three above. Now you need a fourth one called fonts folder. And then inside of the fonts folder is where you need to upload that font that you just downloaded, okay? Downloads, and it's called, okay, and oh, that's because I had moved it. All right, so documents, FDU. Okay, so you need to go to your Saffron site and also upload that before you forget. Okay. All right, so now we are ready. We have it locally on our desktop, and we also have it on CyberDuck, okay? Not on CyberDuck, on the server using CyberDuck. We've uploaded it there, so that's extremely important. All right, so I'm gonna go back to Adam. All right, so I'm just gonna start up here so it's easy for you to see. Now, let's go to, from current site. So how you write it is at font face, okay, so at font face, and then your declaration, font, okay, there we go. So let me just copy that over here and then we'll discuss that, okay? And again, if we copy stuff from the PowerPoint, most likely some formatting issues will happen because it usually will copy some of the wrong kind of quotations or something like that. So I like to kind of have new quotations when I copy stuff over, okay? All right, so and then I'm just going to explain to you what all this is. All right, so at font phase is the, I guess it's a selector, okay? And then here you are, you're going to declare the font family as Sugoi, okay? And then here the source, all right? The property is a source, and here's a value, the URL, and the format, okay? The URL, again, from the CSS folder, you have to go one folder up, right? Because right now, where this is being read is inside the CSS. There's no font folder in here, so you have to go up one, which means .. to go up one directory, and then look for the fonts folder, and then grab the Sugoi TTF, okay? And the format is true type. There are many different formats of font, and true type is one of them, so you have to say which one it is. Okay, and you can, also style the font weight thin and font style normal. You can determine those in here as well. All right. Okay, so moving on, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so I was just talking about how there's different font formats, right? The one that we're using right now is TTF, or True Type Fonts. So True Type Font is a font standard developed in the late 1980s by Apple and Microsoft. So it is the most common format for both Mac and Mac and Microsoft Windows operating systems. There's also OpenType fonts, which is OTF, okay? So OpenType is a format for scalable computer fonts. It was built on TrueType and is a registered trademark of Microsoft. They're often used, they're used commonly today on major computer platforms as well. So both TrueType fonts and OpenType fonts are popular. TrueType fonts used with both Mac and Microsoft. OpenType fonts used mainly with Microsoft. And there's also EOT, which is embedded OpenType fonts. So EOTs are a compact form of OpenType fonts designed also by Microsoft for use as embedded fonts on web pages. Okay. There's the WOFF, the Web Open Font Format. So this is a font format used for use in web pages. It was developed in 2009, and it's now actually W3C. W3C is the sort of international kind of body that oversees the web standards. Okay, so now it's a W3C recommendation. WOFF is actually essentially an OpenType or a TrueType with compression and additional metadata. So it's very similar to OpenType and TrueType. It's just more compressed and has some metadata addition to it. So the WOFF 2.0 provides even better compression than its original. Okay? All right, so in the next slide, we are going to take a look at images. All right, but for now, let's kind of head out of there. And let's go use our font that we had just kind of placed in here. Okay, so now we are free to use Sugoi. Okay, so I'm gonna say perhaps H1 should have the font family, should use, okay. There we go, Sugoi. And let's see how that pans out for us, okay? And there we go. This is the Sugoi font.